Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Nothing Tulip. I'm your host, the Tulip Guy, and today we're going to be doing some pool maintenance on your swimming pool. Nothing Tulip. The solar blanket, as you can see, is starting to get into a little bit of rough shape as the summer's gone by. These blankets typically last about 3 to 5 years. Mine's already approached the 3-year milestone and probably getting pretty darn close to the 5-year mark of needing to be changed out anyway. I'm going to try to preserve it a little longer if I can. You'll see these little patches here. That's where all the bubbles on the blanket have kind of broken and separated from the blanket itself. Also, we've had a pretty good windstorm recently. You'll see spots like this. I had an Adirondack chair fall through, poked a couple holes into my blanket, which I'm going to show you how I'm going to repair just to try and stretch it out for a little bit more of the summer before it gets ripped up too badly. You'll notice that a bunch of these straps have come off the bar, which secures my solar blanket. What happens is this adhesive piece here underneath the Velcro no longer holds itself to the bar. That happens sometimes from getting either too wet or the adhesive just gets worn away from the sun. So what you'll simply have to do is reattach that using some self-tapping screws with a little plastic washer here. This washer will protect that head from damaging any of the strapping. So you'll drill it in, holding that Velcro piece back on here in a secure way, and then you can open up your solar blanket again. First thing we're going to do is take the old Velcro piece off this strap. I'm going to line it up just to the side of where the strap used to be, or to avoid holes that are already in their bar. Take your self-tapping screw, put it into your Velcro, once your Velcro is back on, you can take your strap, make sure it's nice and straight, reattach that Velcro back on there, getting you another secure strap to your pole once again. Do this for the remaining straps that have come loose all the way across your bar. Now that the rest of our straps are reattached to the bar, we can now carefully open up our solar blanket, rolling it up on the bar, trying not to rip the holes that are already existing any further than they are. As you can see, we're approaching these holes here now. I'm going to try not to let them rip any further as you roll them out. Now, in order to gain access to those holes, I'm going to slide this whole system back so I can roll out a few feet of the tarp at a time, giving me access to the holes on the deck. As you can see by all the missing bubbles, this blanket is actually starting to get worn out pretty good. This is where that hole is I was talking about that we're trying not to let get ripped any further. What I'm going to try to do to preserve it, if possible, is let this dry for a little while. I'm going to get some Gorilla Tape, some waterproof Gorilla Tape if I can. Try to tape that up to hold it together to keep it from ripping any further this season. As you can see, now that we have our tarp rolled out somewhere to dry, a couple rips here that I'm going to try to fix with the Gorilla Tape. The larger one over here. There's another smaller one up here. We're going to test out how the Gorilla Tape works on that right now. So based on what you saw in the previous clip, the pool cover is actually in a lot worse shape than I thought, so I'm definitely going to have to replace it next year. But so far, using this crystal clear Gorilla Tape that's got the waterproof characteristic to it, seems to look really good. You can't hardly tell that it was taped. I'll try to get a closer look here, see if we can actually notice it on the camera, but there's a bit of tape here in the area patched. Coming along over here, try to get the sunlight correct here. See a bit of tape along here and over there in a few spots. How waterproof it actually is, because the water is getting in underneath and touching the adhesive part of the tape. So whether it's the backing and the adhesive, I'm not sure, but we'll have to see in a few weeks if it's peeling off or not. But so far, this is looking very hopeful as a good alternative. Stretch the life out of your solar blanket. Another part of the routine maintenance for your pool is skimming the surface of your pool for any leaves and debris that are there. There's some at the bottom there that I'll show you how to get at in a few minutes with vacuuming. But you'll notice up on top, in my pool specifically, these little blue bubbles from the solar blanket that are coming off. I'll have to skim those out to clean it up. And we're also going to check the filter or the skimmer basket over there for any debris that's stuck inside, and we'll get that out before we get to the vacuuming. In order to start your skimming process, you're going to want your skimming attachment net. To take it off or on for any other attachments, there's these two buttons. They push in on each side. Depress those, pull it out, put in a different attachment when you need, or if this is the one that you want, push them in, simply slide it in until you hear the click. Now you're ready for your skimming. Start where the heaviest debris is or where you can reach. Just start slowly scooping and collecting out all the leaves and twigs, pine cones, bits of solar blanket, whatever you might have in there. And as you get a net full of garbage, I collect it and I pick a spot where I can get it all after and clean it up, throw it away. Or if it is just all leaves and debris, you can throw it into a compost bag and carry on. When I'm skimming, I like to try and go towards the jets. The reason for that being is because as the water is circulating around the pool, you're able to come against it, collecting it as it comes towards you. I mean, you won't have to move around the pool as much and chase things around trying to scoop them out. If you'll notice, in some spots of the pool, there's some little green patches forming here and there. Those are the beginnings of algae forming in your pool. What you're going to want to do is take a brush and sweep that off the sides, keeping it off the surfaces of your pool. And through chemical treatments and regular maintenance and cleaning and vacuuming, you can keep that down to nothing. Next on my list is sweeping out the pool. Those green spots I pointed out earlier, those are the spots we're going to be focusing on getting. But if your pool is like mine and it's not too green right now, you can go ahead and just sweep everywhere it is that you desire, of course. I'm going to sweep my whole pool, starting with the deep end first. Now, if your pool is fairly green, during the vacuum process, what you're going to do is follow along everywhere nice and slow, like I did while cleaning out the debris, also sucking that algae out, wasting it to the curb as needed. For my purposes, I'm going to start in the deep end here, brush across as far as you can reach. If you can't reach all the way across, you can get it on the other side as you make your way around the pool. You might stir up a little bit of algae, but at least you'll get everything off your walls and off the floor of your pool. Another little note I'd like to mention is even if your pool doesn't look like it needs cleaning, it probably does. Don't wait until it turns green in order to do it. Just do what I'm doing. Come out if you got 20 minutes or so. Give it a sweep. At least get the algae moving around instead of just sitting there. Get it circulating around your pool a bit more. Hopefully your whatever chemicals you do still have left in your pool are enough to help kill it off. Keep it at bay as much as you can. Once you're done with all the deep sections of your pool, you can loosen the extension pole, feed it back in, and just starting at any old place that you like. Sweep up and down the sides of the wall, all the way around your pool. To get access to your filter basket, you simply pull the lid off. You can see inside. This is the basket here. Just reach in, grab the handle, pull it out. You'll see that there's some blue pieces and leaves and stuff collected in there. I just dump it out to the side. When you're done cleaning your basket, you can leave it aside so you can begin your vacuuming, or if you need to, you can simply just put the basket back in and continue on with your routine maintenance. You'll notice here that I have the water level a little bit higher than it should. Basically, there's this little notch here. You can see it between the two screw holes there. That's the ideal level that you want your pool level to be at so that the functions of your pump can work properly. Basically, what you want is for your water level to be somewhere in between this opening in order for water to flow in, catch debris in your skimmer basket properly. Mine's a little high right now because my plan is to do a bunch of vacuuming and backwashing, and that water level is going to lower as we carry on with our pool maintenance. Much like my pool opening video, I'm going to show you how I fill the vacuum hose with water, put it into the skimmer basket, and start sucking the debris and dirt and algae off the bottom of the pool. Also during this process, you can leave your pump set to waste or filter. I'm going to leave mine on filter. That way I can show you how to empty the filter basket in your pump after you're done vacuuming out the debris in your pool. I'll demonstrate how to do the vacuum filling right now. So I keep a hold of my vacuum pole, take the opposite end of the hose, and I put it over top of the jet. The jet will fill my hose with water, and as it fills up with water, you'll see that your vacuum pole will start sinking again. That's when you know it's full of water and you're ready to move on to the next step. So I'll bring my arm down close to the surface of the water. I'll press the end of the hose on my wrist to keep all that water in. I drag it around to my skimmer basket area. The hose back under the surface of the water, filling it up. More water in case you lost any while trying to get it over here. And then you stick it in the hole in the bottom where your skimmer basket is. I like to set the pole in the corner after when I'm done, just to make sure everything is set up correctly. And then I can continue on to the next step, which is vacuuming the bottom of the pool. So just a little recap prior to this process. Taking my lid off, my skimmer basket out. And inside here you can see where the hose attaches to the hole in the bottom of your skimmer basket. I'll demonstrate quickly now how that looks. You get the hole there. Here's the end of your hose. Simply just put it in there, and with your pump on, it will literally suck that into place, holding it securely there while you do your vacuuming processes. Now that our vacuum head is in place, we'll start beginning the process of getting all that debris at the bottom of the pool. What we'll do is we'll get our vacuum, and we'll start slowly going back and forth, picking up all the debris that's down there. I have to be careful in my case because during the earlier part of the video, when reattaching the straps to my solar blanket bar, I dropped a screw down in the bottom. I have to stay away from that edge for a little while. I'll just dive down in and get that later on because I want to suck that up into my pool pump system. But as you can see, if you just drag the vacuum back and forth along all the areas where there's debris, you can suck it all up. Once you're finished, you'll be able to go to your pool pump, open it up, and empty all that garbage out of the basket that it's collected in. Sometimes if you need to, you'll notice I've tipped the vacuum head upwards a little bit like so to get over top of some of the larger pieces of debris so they don't slide underneath the bristles of your vacuum head sometimes. Once you're satisfied with the vacuuming of your pool bottom, you move on to the next process in the maintenance and cleaning of your pool. One thing you're going to want to try to avoid is when vacuuming the sides of your walls. If you happen to be coming up along the sides like this, what you want to avoid is this sound. That means you've come above the surface of the water and you've now entered air into your pump system. So always keep your vacuum head submerged in the water to avoid allowing air to get into your pump system. In the event that you are done with your vacuuming, simply reach in, pull the hose out of the hole, push it back out through the hole where the water enters into the skimmer basket. Replace your basket and your lid and continue on. Next, we're going to be emptying the filter basket in your pump. As you can see in here, you can see the basket through this cover. You can see bits of debris flying around in there. This is the part that we want to empty out. So what you'll do is turn off your pump. You'll unscrew these lids. or these caps. You can remove your lid. You can slide your basket out. Dump out all the debris. You'll have to clean that basket out a little more. But this part here that says front, when you do have your basket clean, you put it back in, facing the front of your pump, which is where this hose is likely going to be. For this next part of the video, I like to get a bucket of water from the pool, because we're going to fill this back up before putting the lid on. But before putting the lid on, you just want to make sure that there's no debris from emptying your basket stuck on the gasket of your pool pump. Once you've got that all cleaned up and ready to go, you'll pour water into it, filling it up. Once you fill it up, or if the water is draining back into the pipe quickly, just going to stay here for another extra second till it's finished. Top it up. Put your lid on. Close those caps back up. Trying to keep as much air out of the system by filling it up with water again. Once you're ready to turn it back on, do so and check to make sure that this is just flowing with water after a minute or two. You don't want any air bubbles staying into the system. What it will do is try to exhaust that extra air out of the system by pushing it through your pipelines and back out your pool jets. So, turning your pump back on. You'll see that the water is coming out of the hose here from the pool, trying to fill up your pump system again. We're trying to avoid having all this air in the system, so if it still remains in there after a couple minutes, you'll have to take the lid back off and enter more water into the system. But I'll show you what this air does. It will try to escape out through the rest of the pump system via the jets. I'll go to the jets quickly now and show you what it looks like. You'll hear it and notice that it's bubbling out of your pool jet. After a minute or so, that should stop. Coming back to our pump, you'll see that the air has pretty much exhausted itself out of the system. Once it has, the pump will be in full running mode once again with no air in the system. Coming to our backwash part of the video. With the pump off, you'll take your lever, move it all the way to backwash. Then you'll take this hose and I'll unroll it out of my fence and out towards the curb, allowing for the backwash water to exit its way out of our pool system. If you haven't already seen my pool opening video, I go through in great detail how the functions of this pool pump work. So if you haven't already, check it out. For now, I'm going to show you how I roll it out and get to the maintenance part of the video for the pool. Here I'll show you. I just loosely unroll my hose to get it out to my curb. You'll notice that I've had some patches done. I use tuck tape in order to patch up some holes. Eventually I will have to replace this hose, but in the event that you do get a small springing leak out of the hose, you can use tuck tape for a temporary fix. Coming back, what I was saying about unrolling your hose, try to loosely lay it at the beginning, because when you turn it on for the backwash process after, this hose is going to fill up and tighten up to your pool pump. So you want to keep it as flat as possible without any twists, because if you end up with twists in your hose, that's how you end up getting repair jobs like what I showed you with the tape. It'll be too twisted up for the water to pass through, and it'll blow a hole in your hose. Once you're ready, you turn on your pool pump again to start the backwashing cycle. While the backwash is going, you'll notice this little sight glass blowing a bunch of green cloudy water through it. You may have to wait a minute or two for this to become clear again. Once it's clear, we can move on to the next step of backwashing your pool system. So once we're ready to move on to the next part of the system, we will turn off our pump. Move it to the rinse setting. Turn it back on, and this glass will actually rinse clear once you're done with your backwash system. When you're done, turn it off once more, setting it to filter, and you can turn your pump back on, returning it to the filtering system that you want it to stay in for most of the time during pool operation. Once you're done with your backwash, you can then coil up your hose, put it away. A thing I like to do before coiling up my backwash hose is I'll grab it close to the pool pump. I'll raise it up higher than the pool pump itself. I'll slowly push along, forcing whatever water might be still in the hose out before coiling it up. Once you've removed all your water, your excess water, you can collect it at different lengths on the way back. Drop it just inside your fence so it's closest to you. And you can start doing a nice little loop method over and over when hanging it up so that it's easy to unroll it next time you need it for a backwash or a waste operation. Coming to your chlorinator now. What I like to do is take some of your pool pucks. These are what help clean your pool. The type of puck you buy for your pool depends on the system you have. Some chlorinators may be off of your pool pump. You'll have to figure out how it is you get in and out of that chlorinator, what you need your pool pump to be set at in order to do it. For these ones here, they're simple. You simply twist the lid off. I like to put 2 or 3 pucks in here at once. I try to open the package without handling it. Squeeze it in. Once you have 2 or 3 pucks in there, close the lid, and you just throw it into your pool. Another thing I like to do is take one of these pucks and put them directly into my skimmer basket. This allows for acceleration speed of the chemicals that clean your pool to get into your pool quicker. It's sucking through the skimmer, forcing it back out through the jets, while the chlorinator floats around your pool and spreads it around at a slower rate. If you find that you're still having trouble with your pool cleaning after a couple days of maintaining and cleaning it, it's still green instead of clear like this one, you might need something a little more substantial like these Algaecide tablets. What you do is you pull the little tab off this. You'll squeeze this little tablet that's inside directly into your skimmer basket, and you'll run your pump for 2 or 3 days, continuously cleaning the pool, and it'll clear up in no time. Another note with those Algaecide tablets is do not handle them with your bare hands. They are super sticky, super gummy. You're just going to want to try and squeeze it out of the package without actually handling it yourself. If after all that you are still having trouble getting your pool system clean, you're going to want to get a sample to take it to your local pool supplier. What you'll do is you'll put it in roughly an arm's length, take your hand off the top of the lid or off the top of the opening, pour a little bit out, and you'll bring this sample as quickly as you can to your pool supplier, get them to analyze it and check it to see what your levels are at. They'll help guide you from there as to what's wrong with your pool and get you fixed and running in no time. Once you're done with all your cleaning and regular pool maintenance, throw all your fun toys, air mattresses back into the pool and enjoy the rest of your summer season, knowing you can keep a nice, crystal clear pool. Thanks for watching, and remember, there's nothing to it.